Paris Agreement.
Since the 19th, the greenhouse gas emissions have increased by 40%. With the goal to avoid a global climatic disaster, the countries decided to sign the Paris Agreement.
These agreements have the objective to maintain the global warming underneath the critical threshold of 2 degrees and even 1.5 degrees for the future, as well as to make the solar energy's development easier, but also to create a greenhouse gas emissions cap. Indeed, this European objective is divided in two parts. Firstly, increase the carbon taxation for the energy production sectors, industrial sectors, etc., in order to reduce their emission by 43%. Secondly, create the carbon taxation for the sectors which don't yet have constraints so as to reduce their emission by 30%. However, if the country doesn't respect its emissions quotas, it will have to buy quotas of other countries. On the other hand, if it does not use all its quotas, it will be able to sell them.
Paris Agreement in a few numbers and dates.
The first COP was held in 1995 in Berlin. It sets quantified targets for each country or regions for greenhouse gas emissions and corresponding reductions to be achieved. This quantified commitment involves a series of policy measures and commitments. At COP21 on 12 December 2015, the UNFCCC parties reached an historic agreement to address climate change and accelerate and scale up the actions and investments needed for a low-carbon, sustainable future. The Paris Agreement builds on the conventions and for the first time brings together all nations around a common cause to undertake ambitious efforts to combat climate change and adapt it to its consequences with support to help developing countries to do it. It sets a new course in the global climate effort. The following COP took place in Marrakesh in November 2016, the COP22, in Bonn in November 2017, the COP23, and in Katowice in December 2018, the COP24.
Why were Paris Agreements signed in Paris?
Paris agreements were signed in Paris because these follow up on from the negotiation held at 2015 Paris Conference on Climate Changes.
Who approved them?
They were approved by all of the delegations, who are 195, on December 12, 2015, and entered into force on November 4, 2016. 195 countries out of 197 recognized by United Nations Organization have signed or are committed to signing the Paris Climate Agreement, which made this text the most widely and quickly signed in the history of mankind at that time.
It entered into force on the 4th November 26, 30 days after the double threshold ratifications by 55 countries, representing at least 55% of global emissions, was reached. Since then, more countries have ratified the agreement and continue to do so, reaching a total of 25 parties in early 2017.
This agreement signed in 2016, but what's happening in 2020? Today, the Paris Agreement no drops. In fact, the President Trump decided to leave the association. This agreement prevents the US from producing like they want. During the last presidential election on the 4th November 2020, Joe Biden won, and he says that he will re-enter into this agreement. The US are the second greenhouse gases emitter, and the risk of environmental politics absence in the US impacts the fight for global warming. However, the Paris Agreement now advances. As the former Secretary of the United Nations Convention on Climate Change, Christiana Figueres, says, before the COP21, we were heading toward a global warming of between 4 degrees and 6 degrees. After the 2015 commitments, we had gone to 3.7 degrees. And today, at last, we are finally seeing progress and we are moving towards decarbonizing the economy. Indeed, we are close to the goal. In December 2020, we have attained the 2.1 degrees. Today, 196 countries and the European Union have signed the agreements and 183 have ratified them. Against 174 countries and European Union which signed them, and 55 ratified them in 2016. The fact to ratify juridically obliges the signatories to respect their commitment. In 2020, the countries must reiterate their contribution to the agreements. At the beginning of 2020, the G20 countries, those which are the biggest emitters, had not yet reiterated their participation. In 2023, there will be a global assessment of the evolution of objectives launched by Paris Agreement.